Hey, I'm Steve Speck with Exo Mountain Gear. In this video, we're going to completely break down a K4 pack to all its individual parts, just so if there's any steps along the way that a customer needs to know how to remove a harness, take the bag off, take the belt off, take the lumbar pad off, there'll be segments in this video that you can reference. Also, if you want to do a really deep cleaning on the pack, this would be a great way to start by taking all the parts so you can really get into every kind of crevice of the pack and seam and get it good and clean. We're going to start by removing the bag and the lid. So the lid will be first since it's on top. You're just going to unthread the lid webbing through this ladder lock, come to the front and pop off the lid. So easy there. And then on the bag, you've got your two compression straps on both sides that go from the frame back to the bag. We're going to pop those off. Same thing there. Get this hip belt out of the way. So then we come to the bottom of the bag, and you've got these two pieces of webbing that are sewn to the bottom of the bag. We just got to unthread them through this series of ladder locks and tri-glides. And the last step for a bag is to come to the top where the bag connects to the top of the frame. Lift up that Velcro tab, pull it off. Same thing the other side. So now we've completely removed the bag from the frame. Obviously, if you want to go from a 3600 to a 2200 or a 7200, that'd be all the steps you got to do. Then you just put the other bag on. Now, once we're down to the frame, you can start with removing the shoulder harness webbing. So the webbing sewn to the hip belt and then threaded through this ladder lock on the base of the harness. So you can pop that off. And here we can now remove the hip belt. So you're simply, there's a Velcro tab right here that's attached to the upper that Velcros to what we call the lower / hip belt. Peel that off, and I'm just going to kind of grab and slide that out. It's a nice snug frame that snug attachment we built in there that really adds in the stability of the pack. So now we've separated the hip belt. The lumbar pad is just Velcroed on with 3 series of Velcro flaps. So start at the bottom, peel that up, come across to the front, and then last step is the top. If you want to get a lumbar pad, lumbar foam replacement, this is where you're going to be able to do that now. So you can pop that out, swap out different foams if you want to try some different densities. The hip belt is now completely on its own. And then going to the frame here, I'll pop off the harness. So simply, this is your torso adjustment. You're going to kind of grab this tab and the buckle, push it through, pop the harness off, and then lastly, you got your load lifter webbing here at the top. I'm going to unthread that. Same thing on the other side. So now the other harness is off. And then your very last step, slide out your stays. So again, super helpful. You don't have to do all these steps, but if you just swap out the frame, you would just separate the upper from the hip belt, slide in the new frame stays, swap them out, very easy to do. There is one more step you can do, and we've got a separate video on it. There are 3 horizontal carbon stays in here that create the structure of the frame panel. You can pull those out if you need. Reason I would do that is long term, if you got a lot of blood that's going to kind of cake inside of there, that the blood as it dries and dries on the webbing and dries on the carbon stays could cause some squeaking. So you could pull those out, kind of clean them up, sand them down a little bit, and put them back in if you need to. Now we're just going to rebuild this for you. So we've got our upper. This is a tall upper, a 25-inch upper. We also have the short 22 and 23.5-inch upper. So there are 2 variations of this. We simply start with putting in the frame. You can see on the curve of this bigger tab, this bigger straight tab is going to be your lumbar section. Then you got the curve for the back and the smaller tab right here with this bend. The goal, that's going to go away from your head there to tell you that you got the right curve. So you simply just slide those in. And then what I like to do is go to the hip belt next. We'll reattach the lumbar pad. If you kind of take, this tab is designed to sit pretty centered in between these two buckles down here at the bottom. So I'm just kind of eyeballing that up, and it's flush. The lumbar pad's flush with the bottom edge of this plastic. Cinch that tab up, looks good and centered to me. And then you just come to the top of it. It's already Velcroed on the front, and then you're just gonna pull that around, cinch that down there. And then to get the frame in, you kind of want to hold this Velcro out of the way, and you want to get one side started, and then you kind of got to pull the frame over with your thumb, get that other side seated, and then you can slide that down, make sure it's fully seated in there, and then just pull up lightly on that tab, Velcro that down. So now we've connected that portion. We'll go to the harness. First step. Take the tab on the back of the harness, slide it through, and just kind of hold the Velcro out of the way on that side until I get it in. I'll go to the other side. Pop that in place, and I'll flip over. And then I'm just kind of eyeballing that we're centered on the Velcro tab here, and then placing the other one so that it's they're both flush there at the bottom, setting the harness at the right height. And then we're going to take the webbing that goes from the belt back to the harness, and you just want to start at the base and run your thumb up to it, and then you just give a half twist in to the harness, and that's going to, as you wear it now, you can see that webbing is sitting flush against your kind of hip and your side, and it's not twisted where twisting could kind of cause a rubbing point. Same thing other side. Buckle the sternum together. Then I'm going to come to the top. Again, make sure, I always just go to the base of wherever the webbing's sewn in, run my finger up so I make sure it's not twisted. I'm going to thread into the load lifter, ladder lock, do that on both sides. Then we're going to go to the bag, and I like to start at the bottom. So I'm just going to lay the bag on there, grab that webbing, and out of the way. So then same deal, make sure it's not twisted. Go to the bottom, ladder lock, slide that in. Same thing other side. And then get that here so you guys can see. So then just cinching that all the way up. So the bag is nice and tight to the bottom. And then you're going to go through this tri-glide. So you just start through the bottom, roll it over, top, so we've connected the bottom. Now we go back to the top of the frame, and you just take your tab, insert the top of the frame into the pocket, and then just tuck that tab in and make sure that that's fully seated in there. And last step is the lid. So we got our lid webbing that's sewn down here at the base of the bag lip attachment. So that's sliding up and it's sliding through the closest slot to the frame panel. And we specifically cut this webbing at a 45-degree angle because it'll be common for you to unthread this as you're loading meat in the horns and or just taking the lid off. You've got this excess webbing, and to avoid like accidentally grabbing it when I'm trying to grab my load lifter strap, you just want to take it and run it back through that first slot there, which just helps that slide down and hang out, out of the way from you. And that's it. So just to make it look pretty, tuck up the bottom, fold that in, cinch it down, and then how we do this at the shop when we send them out is you just kind of pull up, push into the middle so it kind of folds in like that. Simply buckle those back together. Repeat on this side. And the last step is the lid. And that's it. We just completely broke down the K4 pack, reassembled it. So yeah, there's certain steps along the way there if you need help with. We'll reference in the video for you. You can kind of jump to that certain segment. For more information, just reach out to us or check us out at exomountgear.com.